to be just as brief with your sharing. I would have loved to be the one to take this opportunity and to welcome all of you here. I mean, you're looking so dapper and so sweet, I tell you. And, you know, I would have loved the ministers and all the dignitaries are here looking quite dignified. However, I'm not the one to lead that this afternoon. Someone who does a much better job will be coming to share with us. And so it is my pleasure to bring the welcome and opening remarks, our ambassador, the Honorable Douglas Saunders, OJ, CD, JP, our Cabinet Secretary. Please make him welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I think after that, your opening performance here, perhaps you should indeed have done this welcome. But I just want to acknowledge not just your presence, but your role. And I think it is of some worthy of recognition that you are with us in your capacity as Deputy Chairman of the Jamaica Customer Service Association. And the Cabinet Office has had pleasant memories and will continue to do so, we hope, in working with your organization. I thank also Pastor Henry for the blessings he has sought to bring on us. The Prime Minister will be with us shortly, but in the meantime, I just want to say Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State, members of the Senate and House of Representatives, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and special acknowledgement to Mrs. Therese Turner-Jones, our IDB partner. I think Ambassador Stephen Bassiani is supposed to be here from the University of Technology. But I'm happy to see so many of my colleague permanent secretaries, heads of department, agencies, and other public bodies, heads of private sector organizations, and president of the Bar Association. Not least, Director Pottinger Scott and her team from the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division of the Cabinet Office, Mrs. Judith Ram-Logan, the CEO of the Companies Office of Jamaica, in respect of which this particular launch is of special significance. Members of the media, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen all. It is certainly my pleasure to welcome you all to the official launch of the Electronic Business Registration Form, EBRF. This system has been long awaited, we know, as the team first started work on this from way back in 2014. For too long, engaging government services has been synonymous with paper, and more paper, coupled with multiple visits to numerous government agencies and lengthy delays. We have heard the cries and the criticisms, and we have also listened to the demands for better service delivery. We admit it has taken some time, but we wanted to get it right the very first time. Whilst we have been unhappy with the previous process of registering a business, it is still regarded as one of the best in the world, and this is not my opinion. I think we should remember that currently Jamaica is ranked 6 out of 190 countries for the ease of starting a business, and this is drawn from the World Bank's Doing Business survey. This ranking was before this digital edition of the business registration form. But although these results are results of which we should be proud, the global village around us continues to change, and so Jamaica must keep up with the technological advancements and the ever-growing expectations of those whom we seek to serve, and we should therefore never become complacent. Those who regularly interact with the company's office will readily agree that the process of registering a business needs to be far more efficient, modern, and convenient. We anticipate that by having this luxury of registering your business from wherever you are and at whatever time you choose, more business owners will become compliant. So go ahead and save time. Go online and register your businesses. This feature of convenience will, in short order, be the norm of many other government agencies. Through the work of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, executed by the Office of the Cabinet, government services are being modernized and, in some cases, totally transformed. We are seeking to make it easier for you to engage the government from wherever you are and at your convenience. The public service which I lead is committed to the task of making Jamaica a digital economy. The team has been taking deliberate actions to improve the delivery of services right across the public sector. Very soon you will hear not just announcements of what is to come. You will in fact have reports of what is being tested for official rollout to make all of our lives easier. It is high time that we make engaging government services more convenient for our customers. We all know that transformation and modernization is not a new phenomenon in Jamaica. For the better part of the last 23 years, Jamaica has been engaging in the process of reforming, modernizing, and transforming the public sector. The fact is that it is in relatively recent times that we have taken ownership of those processes. And it is that, I think, was marked by the issue and production of the Master Rationalization Plan in 2010. Modernization of the public sector is an essential prerequisite for wealth creation in the country. The public service will continue to aim for new and better ways to improve the delivery of services across the country. It is our mission to lead the creation of a world-class public sector by creating better service, better workforce, and better institutions. This transformation has benefited from the renewed support and commitment of the Inter-American Development Bank and supported by other of our international partners. And they have done so through the Public Sector Efficiency Program. And this particular project was possible because of work under that program undertaken by the Office of the Cabinet, the Company's Office of Jamaica, and the IDB in particular. Many of you, I hope, would have walked by the kiosks. I believe there are some kiosks around, and I invite you to interact with the platform and engage the team. Members of the team are here. They will share with you how the government of Jamaica is making sure that our customers are at the front and center of all our decisions. I thank you.
Thank you very much. I must warn you, I don't hear so well. I'm not so sure if between my getting up from there to getting up here, if I did hear the applause for the Cabinet Secretary. And now, because he's a very tall gentleman, I have to adjust the microphone. to my height once again. Now, I heard him say that the customers were crying. And I hasten to say that I believe it might have been crying many years ago, but I think it moved from crying to bawling now, sir. And so we are really pretty happy for this new development. 6th, our ranking, sir? You think that's going to turn up? Yeah? With this new development, I believe that ranking is going to improve. Okay, so put your hands together again one last time for the ambassador. Thank you, sir. We do have an apology from our permanent secretary in our ministry, Sir Spence. Just thought I'd mention that just now. The next person to share with us this afternoon is the Director General of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division from the Office of the Cabinet, Mrs. Venice Pottinger Scott. Please make her welcome.
I didn't want to use that, but it would have been stupid of me not to notice what nearly happened when the CABSEC was coming up. So that is my security blanket. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Let me start first by acknowledging the presence of the Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, all other cabinet members. Also, I would like to observe, not just observe, but acknowledge the presence of, I was looking for Senator Aubin Hill, but I'm sure he's going to probably arrive a little later. I must also acknowledge the presence of our Cabinet Secretary. Additionally, Her Excellency, the representative, the head of delegation for the European Union. Also, Ms. Therese Turner-Jones, the General Manager of Country Department, Caribbean Group, Inter-American Development Bank representative, all our permanent secretaries that are here present, as well as all heads of departments and agencies, our important private sector representatives. Additionally, we would like to make mention of our representative from the private, not just the private sector organization, but the customer service organization of Jamaica, and of which our chairman is a member. All other distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, I'd really love to add my share of welcome and to express our pleasure at your presence this afternoon at this extremely important event. Now, my job has been made a little easier, so my remarks will be brief, because you will notice in your package there is a handout that explains and illustrates, outlines very clearly the role and function of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division of the Cabinet Office. Now, I'd like to welcome you all to this very important launch of the electronic business registration form the EBRF. I want to make special mention of the presence of representatives from our immediate partner agencies, that is the COJ, of course, Mrs. Ram Logan, the head of the company's Office of Jamaica, representatives from the TAJ, importantly, the head of the JBDC. Now, these organizations are going to be playing an even more important role as we roll out this new function under the COJ, because they already have a network of operations across the island. So the kiosk that we mentioned earlier, the CABSEC mentioned earlier, we are going to be using or seeking to put our business through already existing arrangements that I'm sure is going to mean much more efficient use of already existing equipment, stations, and so on. So, Valerie, in particular, welcome. Now, the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division of the Cabinet Office, and CABSEC did mention what it is that we do. We focus on the transformation of the public service to improve service delivery and enhance Jamaica's competitive and economic growth, ultimately. Now, I have been a public servant for over 30 years, and some of you in here know how long I've been around, because I see a lot of familiar faces. But this particular event is perhaps one of the most exciting one, and this particular phase also of my career, I think, is a very exciting period. We've been working assiduously on the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, otherwise the acronym PSTMP, you will see it around, funded by the IDB, the European Union, China, and of course the government of Jamaica, and operating out of the Office of the Cabinet. We've been working to modernize the public sector and the public service in general. Now, a major tenet of that program is its commitment to the government of Jamaica's vision of improving service delivery in the public sector. That's at the heart of what it is we are about. In order to achieve this, the program focuses on 4 main thematic areas, and this is, again, fully outlined for you in the document that is in your folder, but I'll briefly mention trade and investment facilitation and service excellence to improve Jamaica's trade and investment position within the Caribbean and Latin American region, and to transform the public sector culture into one that is customer-centric. For example, we seek to manage the implementation of the program to improve the development application process. Some mention was made of that there are going to be a number of changes that are going to be coming where you'll be able to apply for your building permit, not just your company registration, building permit online. Another thematic area is the business of managing public sector costs, which places a focus on increasing the economy and efficiency in government expenditure. For example, we have been supporting the improvement of the government procurement system and also improvements in the internal and external audit function within the public sector. A third area, or third thematic area, is the ICT transformation, which seeks to create an integrated, technologically oriented, enabled delivery of public services. And in that regard, we have been involved, for example, in supporting the establishment of an ICT governance framework and also in managing the implementation of the ICT blueprint. And the fourth area has to do with human resource management. and the transformation and institutional strengthening of the HRM within the public sector is aimed at ensuring that the public sector or the public service institutions deliver results. We must support, for example, the implementation of the HRM transformation program itself, but also to implement changes in other areas, such as the now topical corporate governance framework. Now, overall, our program is aimed at ensuring consistent delivery of efficient, high-quality services by all our entities. The Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program is working assiduously to improve service delivery by doing things like building the capacities in ministries, departments, and agencies, introducing new technologies, and eliminating archaic, inefficient, manual-based processes and systems. Now, the introduction of the electronic business registration form is one such project under trade and investment facilitation and service excellence. As you will eventually learn as we go through the details, you will see that the EBRF is a new, convenient, and hassle-free way to register your businesses or your company. No more multiple visits to government agencies to have the process completed, as it is a cross-functional service that will save you time and money. No more visits to the NIS office, the TAJ office, the NHD's office, all of those things before you can get to register your company. The technology will allow us to prevent and remove those kinds of delays. Okay, now, we're not here today to talk a lot more about our overall program, but you will be hearing, and the Cabinet Secretary did allude to it, you will be hearing much more as we come towards the close of one program and going into the start of a new one towards the end of the year. We're going to be building awareness of the things that have been happening, all the changes that we have been making in the public sector. You know, we tend to be quiet in the Cabinet office, and the Cabinet Secretary wants us to make sure that when we open our mouths to talk, the things really are happening and are working. So we have been a bit quiet, but we're at the point now where we'll be talking more and more about the new changes that are going to be coming. For example, in the case of the HR and the changes that are coming, there's a whole public sector learning framework that has been developed, and it is all going to be geared at helping to build the kind of culture that we want to see imbued in our public service that will lead to the generation of the quality service to which for which we are all aiming. Ladies and gentlemen, good things are happening in Jamaica. You will be hearing more about the projects being implemented by the PSTMP in the Office of the Cabinet as we seek to publicize the achievements of the program. I thank you.
Wow, time to adjust the mic again. All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Pottinger Scott, for your remarks. I realize that the Cabinet Secretary handed you the baton, and guess what? You ran a little bit over the 100-meter mark. And so we would love for the next few persons who will be coming to see if they can shorten the distance. Are you with me? Ladies and gentlemen, are you with me? All right. And so, without any further ado, It is my pleasure to invite to address us at this time the Chief Executive Officer of the company's office, of Jamaica, Mrs. Judith Ram Logan. Come on, put your hands together for her as she comes.
Honorable Audley Shaw, Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of State, Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Ambassador Douglas Saunders, Cabinet Secretary, Her Excellency Ms. Malgorzata Wasiluska, Head of Delegation, European Union, Mrs. Therese Turner-Jones, General Manager, Country Department, Caribbean Group, Inter-American Development Bank, Mrs. Venice Pottinger-Scott, Director General, Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division of the Cabinet Office, Permanent Secretaries, Heads of public and private sector agencies and departments.
My apologies. Our Prime Minister is now here.
Good afternoon. Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Mr. Lloyd Easton Jr., President, Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Donovan Wignall, President, MSME Alliance. Mr. Emile Leiber, President, Jamaica Bar Association. Members of the EBRF project team. Members of the COJ's Advisory Board and COJ staff. Distinguished guests from public and private sectors, members of the media, good afternoon. It is my esteemed honor to present to you the Electronic Business Registration Form, the EBRF. The electronic form is an innovation that demonstrates to the world that Jamaica is open for business and indicates that the government of Jamaica and the Companies Office of Jamaica are willing and committed to utilizing available technology to improve the country's investment environment. As an overview, the EBRF is an improvement on the super form which was implemented in 2014. That form transformed the way businesses were registered and created a one-stop shop approach for persons wanting to start a business or company. Not only did this mean that customers had no need to visit multiple agencies, but it significantly improved the turnaround time for transactions. The result, saving time and transaction costs. Registration timelines and travel costs were significantly reduced. To date, the super form has facilitated the registration of approximately 50,000 business names and 14,000 companies. Business name registration in 2013 stood at 7,163. During 2018, 10,199 business names were registered. Companies incorporation in 2013 amounted to 1,948. During the calendar year 2018, the COJ facilitated the incorporation of 3,159 companies. Investment is important to Jamaica, and as such, priority must be given to the expansion of the formal sector. It is therefore against this background that the electronic business registration form will facilitate the registration of business names and companies from anywhere in the world at any time. As a major contributor to Jamaica's ranking in relation to the Starting a Business indicator on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business survey, the Companies Office prides itself on being a part of initiatives that will improve the country's ranking. At present, Jamaica is ranked at number 6 in relation to the ease of starting a business. This is significant, as it is a testament that the government takes business seriously and is committed to making continuous improvements to allow for greater efficiency. Ranked at number 6 means that Jamaica has been outpacing several countries that are more developed and have access to greater resources. It is something that we can all be proud of. A frequent complaint by customers is the limited space and parking at the COJ's offices. With the EBRF, the COJ is hoping to provide relief, as the platform will serve as a point of engagement for customers. Consider it an extension of the agency's opening hours, and the COJ is setting up office wherever and whenever you have the time. With its intuitive design, the EBRF is about customer convenience and the efficiency of government services. The delivery of a conveniently accessible platform is a significant task. It is one that involves many stakeholders coming together with a common purpose to provide a product that addresses a significant need for investors. As such, we are most grateful to our partners, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry, Agriculture and Fisheries, the Inter-American Development Bank, the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division of the Office of the Cabinet, eGov Jamaica Limited, the World Bank, Tax Administration Jamaica, National Housing Trust, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and the Hard Trust NTA. The establishment of the electronic business registration form is a critical juncture for the Companies Office of Jamaica. It sets the foundation on which to build an online facility that is sustainable and modern. This platform is only the start to facilitating customers in a value-added way, where the advantages are not just perceived but actual. The COJ will now, with the strong support of the Government of Jamaica, particularly the Ministry of Finance, enter into the next phase by seeking to introduce other electronic forms, such as the annual returns form and change forms. This should go a long way in assisting customers to become more compliant with their statutory obligations. This, in turn, should assist businesses and companies to adopt better corporate governance practices. Delinquency rates should decline significantly as a result. At the Companies Office, it is our aim to deliver world-class service to our customers, and there is no doubt that the introduction of the electronic business registration form will provide our customers with an efficient registration facility. That should provide them with an incentive to do business in Jamaica, thus making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. I must acknowledge that you have, run a very good leg and is now competing in the ranks of Shelly-Ann and Elaine. That's fantastic. How about being a trendsetter? I see this launch as one she just mentioned as one very important step in the modernization of all the other forms that will be coming out of the Companies Office there. And so that is a very, very, very important thing. Let's put our hands together. Thank you very much, Mrs. Ram Logan. Now, it's time for the next leg. The General Manager, Country Department, Caribbean Group, Inter-American Development Bank. And she is none other than Mrs. Therese Turner-Jones. I invite her to come and to share with us. Come on, put your hands together. Let's make her welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rowe. Thank you. I'm going to do my best. No, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome, Prime Minister Holness. We know that you're multitasking, and first of all, let me also congratulate every Jamaican on the 57th Independence holiday this weekend. It was a fantastic weekend. Congratulations. I want to recognize one of our very important partners in this project, including the government of Jamaica, of course, but the European Union, without whose grant support to leverage the loan resources of the IDB, along with the resources of the government of China, to make this possible. I have a couple of, As I've been challenged to run a very fast race, I'm going to do this quickly, but a couple of points I want to make that are scripted and non-scripted. In 2017, Prime Minister Holness challenged us and Jamaica to be the first digital economy in the Caribbean. And I think what we see today is a baby step, but is a really important first step in making this a reality. For those of you who've heard me speak in Jamaica, this is my main mission. If I don't do anything else in Jamaica in my time here, it will be to see that Jamaica become a fully digital economy. And I'll tell you why. There are lots of reasons. But the main reason, it's not about the technology. Let's get this clear. It's not about the technology. It's about improving the lives of every Jamaican, whether they're in Falmouth or up in the Blue Mountains, where I spent 5 days this weekend, or on the coast in Treasure Beach, or further on Black River, or whatever. Every single Jamaican ought to be able to access a government service digitally. This is the world we're living in. This is the world we're living in. Every single one of us in this room has at least 2 mobile devices. There's no reason why most of what we want to do with the government can be transacted on a mobile device. The data is not great in the Caribbean on how we interact with the government digitally. In fact, in all of Latin America and the Caribbean, 90% of every single transaction in this region, from all the way down in South America, all the way up to Belize and Haiti and so on, 90% of our transactions are still done in person in this region. It's ridiculous. It can't continue. It shouldn't be, because we know that we can deliver services more efficiently, better quality, more timeliness, a better interaction with the government if we can do things differently. This morning I spent about 3 hours at the Spanish Town Hospital, because we're about to help the transformation of that hospital. What I witnessed was moving in many respects, but the most important one, I think, was the dedication of the health professionals in that facility and the number of people seeking health services at the Spanish Town Hospital. Now, I know that that hospital has a demographic that is quite different from, say, the Kingston Public Hospital, or those who have access to Maypen even, or University Hospital. But I saw professionals who were there to deliver a service that is first class. What is not first class is the way in which they are working. It's overcrowded. It's 100% paper-based. And patients must come in with their passbook, like the old-time passbooks in a bank, to register the last file number that they use so that the filing clerk could find their file. This is not 2019 way of doing business or delivering health care, Prime Minister Holness, in Jamaica. We have to fix that. And we have exposed Minister Williams and others in this government to Estonia and what they're doing. Estonia has 1.2 million people. Jamaica has 3. It's possible to replicate the best of what they're doing with the digital transformation of that economy right here in Jamaica. But let me just share a couple of data points, because I'm getting off script. So we did a publication last year. It's called Wait No More, and it mostly focused on Latin America, and we're about to launch the Caribbean data portion of that survey that we did. And apart from the 90% of transactions still being done in person in this region, some other interesting features, I think, came up for me. So on average, Caribbean people spend about 4.5 hours to complete any government transaction, 4.5 hours. And that involves going to many different places and doing it physically. In Jamaica, that number is 4.1 hours, compared to the Bahamas, which is about 2.8. We have many fewer people, so I don't know that it's comparable. In Trinidad, it's just under 4 hours. This is still better than the Latin American average of about almost 6 hours, but it's really not good. More so, every transaction involves multiple interactions, and we heard a lot of that from the Cabinet Secretary. We also heard that from Ms. Pottinger-Scott. We also heard from Judith what needs to be fixed. In Jamaica, unfortunately, Jamaica lags all of the Latin American, Caribbean countries that we covered in terms of a government transaction involving more than one interaction. So in Uruguay, it's like 63%. In Jamaica, only 11% of the services don't involve more than one transaction. In Jamaica, people surveyed, only 4% of all interactions of the folks studied in this report were able to get onto a government service through a digital transaction. 4%. It's a very low number. The highest number, however, in the region, including all of Latin America, was Barbados with 17%, and Nicaragua lagging with only 1%. But certainly a country like Jamaica could do better than 4%. So what are the consequences of these numbers, and why do we want to make things digital and improve electronic interaction between citizens and governments? There are a whole host of reasons, and a lot have already been said, but it's mostly about accessing benefits in a different way and to make sure that those benefits get to where they ought to be. But another important reason, too, is costs. So when we looked at developed countries around the world, for example, in the UK, in-person transactions cost about $15 on average, whereas a digital one costs about 40 cents. And a country like Mexico, which is probably a little more comparable to Jamaica, that number is $9 for physical interaction versus about 45 cents for a digital one. So we know that there are lots of benefits, and that, by the way, those costs are borne by taxpayers. So imagine if we can liberate even more resources to do the health infrastructure we need, or the education infrastructure, or the housing infrastructure that Jamaica needs. So that's what we can put those resources to. Judith mentioned, Jamaica moving up to number 6 in the doing business indicators as a result of this kind of work. And I would say of the 6 countries in this region, Jamaica is the only one over the last, since 2008 actually, to see a huge reduction in that, meaning an increase in the ranking, being number 6 versus where it used to be 20 in 2008. So that's a huge improvement. A country like the Bahamas, for example, actually has regress. They were 42 and they're now at 105. So there are lots of good things happening. We want to build on it. As I said, this is a first step to demonstrate how technology can help enhance the way services are delivered in Jamaica to be more efficient, to get the results more quickly. And we know that there are many other parts of the government where this can be replicated, and we look forward to seeing it replicated in health, in education, and agriculture, and in many other sectors. The IDB, as all of you know in this room, has been a partner of Jamaica for 50 years. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary with Jamaica this year, and the IDB overall 60th anniversary. I don't want to ring too many bells here, but our footprint has been in just about every single sector in Jamaica. But importantly, as you look at this project, what we've been able to do is to leverage resources of partners like the EU and like the China Trust Fund to make the balance sheet of the IDB even bigger so that we can help solve your problems in a different way. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to work with you, Jamaica has extremely hard-working professionals. I saw a ton of them this morning in the hospital. It was impressive to see, and I must say, Jamaicans themselves are extremely patient. Now, it's a hospital and it's a clinic, and people are called patients, and there's a reason why they're called patients, because they're sitting there and they're like in this room, people are quiet, people are respectful, and the professionals are getting the job done. But I think we have to find a way to deliver those services in a different way so that you can continue to improve your health indicators as well as demonstrate to the world that there are other ways of doing business. Thank you so much.
Wow, and thank you. Thank you so very much. I see we are doing well. I noticed how fast she got up here. She didn't need my help in getting up those steps. And I would have noticed that she did a little twitching in her block, but it wasn't enough for a false start. And now she has equaled the record of Shelley and Elaine. Way to go. Come on, put your hands together again for our country, what is it? The Country Department Caribbean Group of the Inter-American Development Bank, I tell you. She did mention that we are extremely hard-working professionals. I love that. Sound good, not true? If you are an extremely hard-working professional, then I ask that you put your hands together for yourselves and all the other Jamaicans who are indeed a part of that group. Okay, and so we have ran all those legs in the remarks, and now it's time for us to look at the overview of this project. There's a gentleman who is also wearing a bow tie, and he is the next person to come and address us. He is the Principal Director of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division inside the Office of the Cabinet, and I believe one of those who have led the planning of this occasion. It is my pleasure to invite him now, Mr. Wayne Robertson. Oh, beg your pardon, did I leave out the O? Mr. Wayne O. Robertson to come and address us.
The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, ON MP, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable Audley Shaw, CD MP, Minister of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, and you also are responsible, sir, for investment. We are aware of that. Honorable Favour Williams, MP, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology. Honorable Floyd Green, MP, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries. Senator the Honorable Pernell P. Charles Jr., Minister without Portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Ambassador the Honorable Douglas Saunders, OJCD, JP, Cabinet Secretary. Her Excellency, Ms. Malgorzata Vasiluska, Head of the European Union Delegation, other members of the Diplomatic Corps, Ms. Therese Turner-Jones, General Manager, Country Department, Caribbean Group, Inter-American Development Bank, Mrs. Venice Pottinger-Scott, Director General, Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Division in the Office of the Cabinet, Mrs. Judith Rum-Logan, Chief Executive Officer, Companies Office of Jamaica, Mrs. Audrey V. Sewell, CDJP, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Professor Lloyd Waller, Chairman, EGOV, Dr. Wayne Henry, Chairman and Director General of the PIOJ, Mr. Maurice Barnes, CEO, EGOV, Ms. Diane Edwards, President JAMPRO, Mr. Douglas Webster, Trade Administrator, Valerie Vera, CEO, JBDC, in who we'll be calling upon very shortly for the installation of kiosks. Mr. Ainsley Powell, Commissioner General, Tax Administration, Jamaica. Daniel Dawes, CEO, Universal Service Fund. Lloyd Distant Jr., President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Donovan Wignall, President of the MSME Alliance. Mr. Emil G.R. Leiber, President, Jamaica Bar Association. Young entrepreneurs, young parliamentarians, other distinguished guests, my colleagues from the Cabinet Office and the Office of the Prime Minister, members of the media, I greet you all very well. It's good to be here to give you an overview. It's good to be here to give you an overview of this wonderful project and a wonderful product that we are putting to the market. The electronic business registration form was conceptualized and designed by the Companies Office of Jamaica in 2014, and it formed part of the Public Sector Efficiency Program loan, PSEP, as we call it. And thanks to the IDB for providing funding for this project. You can give them a round of applause, please. Technical support was provided by eGov Jamaica Limited, which included programmers, project manager, for example. Give them a round of applause. Among other resources, to manage and support the implementation of the electronic business registration form. The Companies Office of Jamaica also provided key resources such as IT developers, systems developers, testers, business process owners to design the system. The Cabinet Office was responsible for managing and coordinating the project. Let's speak a little about the objectives of the project. These include to improve customer efficiency and service delivery. Secondly, to reduce the number of rejection of applications, because I can tell you that the PSOJ and the Jamaica Bar Association wrote about this one, and they were not happy with the number of rejections. So we are happy to report that we should be in a better place after today. Another objective is to improve business facilitation by reducing the time taken for the registration of businesses. And this involves streamlining the process and creating a virtual one-stop shop for the registration of businesses and companies. The scope of the project included, 1, a business process review of the Companies Office of Jamaica's business registration processes. Secondly, management design and quality assurance for the development and successful implementation of the system. Project management for all components of the project. Fourthly, the development and rollout of the project. And also, fifthly, the development and execution of a communication strategy to increase awareness and promote the system. And at this time, I want to thank the Companies of the Jamaica Information Service, which provided support to the Companies Office of Jamaica, and we worked closely with them during the development, and we are now at implementation of the communications program. Seventh, training of Tax Administration of Jamaica staff to offer support and using the online filing service at the tax offices. And finally, the training of staff at the Companies Office of Jamaica. The EBRF boasts the following features. 1, a simple online form with help wizard. Secondly, allowance for online business name reservation. Thirdly, online payment using Companies Office of Jamaica's e-bank subscription. Secret phase for verification. It also includes confirmation of registration by way of email data protection, and also the ability to track documents. The project encompasses the implementation of business name reservation and registration for sole proprietors, partnership, while also incorporating corporate sole proprietor and partnerships, as well as company incorporation, limited by shares and limited by guarantee. The introduction of the online registration system will enable the Companies Office of Jamaica to offer registration services on a 24-hour, 7 days a week basis. And you can add 365 days a week, 24/7, 365, right? Let's speak a little about the status of the installation of kiosks. To date, 1 kiosk has been installed at the Companies Office, 3 in Tax Administration Jamaica, the locations being Constant Spring, Twickenham Park, Spanish Town, and Montego Bay. Soon, very soon, 2 kiosks are to be installed at COJ's Montego Bay branch. and kiosks will also be installed at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Let's speak a little about governance, because governance of a project based on project management guidelines, standards, principles, very important. A steering committee was established to ensure sound governance of the project. Could members of the steering committee please stand? If you're here and be recognized. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yeah, you're a little shy. I know you're a little shy. It's okay. The committee was responsible for inter alia, providing advice, support, general direction, and recommendations to facilitate the successful delivery of the project. The members of the committee included the Companies Office of Jamaica, Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Cabinet Office, TAJ, eGov Jamaica Limited, and the National Competitiveness Council. What are some of the lessons we have learned? Firstly, with the development of these type of projects, I should tell you, it is imperative that the full requirements are developed at the start, not in the middle or at the end. In addition, a make or buy analysis must be done very early in the day so that a decision is made concerning the procurement of software off the shelf or a decision made as it relates to developing the system from scratch. And at this time, I want to honor and recognize the members of the project team. eGov, COJ, if you're here, please stand and be recognized for your hard work. Please, don't be shy. You have put a lot of work into this. Thank you. In 2019, a new dimension was added just this year. That is to reform the customer service area at the Companies Office of Jamaica. Mrs. Ramlogan, I know, is very happy about this one. The project includes, among other things, the procurement of new office furniture and workstations. And when completed, this should improve customer experience, redounding to service excellence. In the final analysis, Jamaica's ease of doing business climate is projected to improve, over time, of course. Jamaica is currently ranked number 5, as you would have heard earlier. Sixth in the doing business report. We were 5 before and then slipped 1 place in the overall report, in the current report. Let me share some data with you. It is easier to register a business in Jamaica than many, many countries, first world included. Let me share some information with you. The USA is ranked 53rd in starting a business under the World Bank's Doing Business report. The UK is ranked 19th. Estonia is ranked 15th. Estonia is heralded as an e-government hub. France, number 30th, and Switzerland, 77th. So with the 6th ranking in the world, we should see further improvements, further gains will be made once the system has been implemented and is being used by the clients. And closing, the project is expected to augment the registration process. The MSME and entrepreneurship policy, which I was very honored to be a part of in leading the policy development process when I was at the Ministry of Industry some years ago. It speaks to the need for MSMEs to become formalized. Because if you're operating under the radar, you won't get certain benefits like credit when you go to a financial institution. It is envisaged that the EBRF will facilitate an increase in the number of formal businesses so that they can access financing, right? This shows the congruence between policy and project development, congruence at work. Ladies and gentlemen, a key indicator of this system will be, a key indicator of success I must highlight as well, will be the number of persons who are able to register their entities within the established time frame. So persons must not go onto the system and be frustrated. So we can't be talking about poor bandwidth. We must fix that problem as the government of Jamaica. We must maintain the system to ensure that clients are not frustrated when they go on the site to register their businesses and companies. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very wonderful product, a great product, but we must protect it. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the lunch.
Of the Cabinet. The program encompasses projects which build the capacity of workers and provide support and direction to ministries, departments, and agencies to enable them to deliver the highest quality of services to the people who do business with the government of Jamaica.
One service being transformed is the registration of businesses at the Companies Office of Jamaica. In times past, business or company owners had to go through several tedious steps to complete this process.
The customer would come to the company's office to register a business name. Then he or she would have to go to the tax office to get an NIS number. The transaction cost, the travel cost to do that was high. The time to register a business name was high as well.
In 2008, the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries implemented a one-stop-shop program. And in 2014, the Business Registration Form, or BRF, was developed.
You complete the business registration form, more popularly known as the super form. You submit it to the company's office, and once you have done that, once the application is approved, then you are not only registered with the company's office, but you're also registered with the Tax Administration Jamaica. So you get a TRN, taxpayer registration number. You're registered with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, so you get an NIS number, and you are registered to deduct contributions on behalf of your employees for NHT and Hard Trust. So with the introduction of the super form, transaction costs were cut significantly, as well as the time to register. And it was more convenient because you just had to come to the company's office and you'd be registered with all the other business startup agencies.
The BRF has significantly reduced the amount of time to start a business from 6 to 4 days for a company and 4 to 2 days for a business name. To date, approximately 50,400 business names and 14,000 company names have been registered using the form. But it doesn't stop there. In April 2014, the Public Sector Transformation Modernization Program team started working with the COJ to develop an electronic version of the manual business registration form, the EBRF.
The electronic business registration form is just to allow persons to register their business names from anywhere in the world that they are. So they don't need to come into the company's office. They can stay whether they're at their homes or in their offices, as I said, wherever in the world they are, and register their business names. You can find the EBRF form on our website. The website is www.orcjamaica.com.
All that's needed is reliable internet access, a subscriber account with the COJ, an email address, a scanner for uploading documents, and information to register your business or company name. And for those who may not have access to a computer or internet service, the EBRF will be accessible through kiosks set up in revenue service centers across the island, as well as at the company's office in Kingston.
So the kiosks are really set up to allow persons who do not have internet access otherwise to register their business names online. And they will be using the electronic business registration form that is just an electronic version of the super form. There are 3 kiosks that will be placed at revenue service centers in Montego Bay, in Twickenham Park, and in the Constant Spring tax offices. Those are the first set. There will be other kiosks in the future.
Once you have successfully registered your business or company name on the COJ website, you will get an update within 2 days. A notification will be sent to you via email that the COJ has completed the registration of your company or business name. The email will also include an electronic copy of the certificate of registration. You can then arrange for the registration certificate to be sent to you by courier, or you may pick up the certificate at the company's office.
The international investing community, as well as the local investing community, they look at the World Bank's Doing Business Index, in which it ranks country according to the seamlessness of doing business in order to mobilize investments. When an investor is thinking about investing, they look at that index. Now, the Companies Office plays an important role in the mobilization and creation of businesses. And one of the things that we want is to create business as efficiently as possible, because entrepreneurship is important to economic activity and the acceleration of economic growth. The company's office has space constraint, so they much rather people not come into the office in order to register their businesses because it's a more efficient process. And that is why the electronic registry is so important, because we need to create more businesses in order to accelerate economic growth and to create more jobs in order to improve the quality of life of our people.
The Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program, PSTM, will continue to increase public sector efficiency and satisfaction, making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The EBRF is a project of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Company's Office of Jamaica. The project is funded by the Inter-American Development Bank under the Public Sector Efficiency Program.
For more information on the electronic business registration form, you can go online, www.orcjamaica.com. You can email us at costsupport@orcjamaica.com, or you can call us at 908-441-9223.
Register your business online. Register your business
from anywhere anytime in the world.
It's easy to register your business or your
Register
company.
your business at the Company's Office of Jamaica's website, orcjamaica.com. A message from the COJ and the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Inter-American Development Bank.
Well done, well done, well done. I see you have gone into the race. Usain has bowed out of athletics, and so he has handed the baton to a few persons. One of them is Johan Blake. Sir, you did well. You did very well. Would you say he did well? Yes? Fly over the 100-meter mark and heading straight towards the 150 mark, but running very fast. We thank you very much for that, sir. It's now time to change things up a bit, and to assist us in doing just that is a young man. He is a fifth form student of Kingston College. Any Kingston College old boys in the house? Been singing since age 3. When I asked him to sing one of the songs he sang then, he couldn't remember. But he's also the president of the youth division in his church, the Chapel of Christ or Redeemer. It is my pleasure to invite this young man, young Ahej, yes? I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. It's Ahej, not Ahej. Ahej Mattis. Going to invite him to come, and of course, you will make him welcome at this time.
Good afternoon, everyone. I come just now to say thank you, O King. You're not just a part of my life, but my everything. Your love reaches way down deep within, passes human understanding. There will always be a song for you I sing. One word alone just can't express my heart's desire. Gratitude for one more day my needs supply. Your warm embrace and tenderness, patient with me through all my mess. I come to one conclusion. You are the best. Hallelujah to our King. Hallelujah. I will sing. You are great, almighty. All honor to you, O King. Oh, oh, hallelujah to our King. Hallelujah. I will sing. You are great. Yes, Lord. Almighty, all honor to you, O King. Oh, oh, hallelujah to our King. Hallelujah, I will sing. You are great, our great Lord, almighty. Yeah, yeah, all honor to you, O King.
Good job, young man. Hallelujah to our King. Did I mention that he's a he's a former finalist in the JCDC competitions? No? Yes? All right, thank you so very much. Now it's time for a presentation, and that will be done on the use of technology to facilitate startups. And our Honorable Floyd Green, MP, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries. He will come and share with us at this time. I didn't have to ask you, did I? Thank you.
Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, our international partners, other specially invited guests, members of the media. Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I looked at the program and I recognized that the less I say, the better. So let me just confine all that I wanted to say to a few brief remarks. We are an entrepreneurial people. The truth is, on every corner, in every nook, in every valley, there is some Jamaican right now crafting a business idea and sharing that, the next way that they're going to get a bus. Our responsibility as government must be to provide those platforms that can transform those business ideas into businesses and that can move communities, families forward. And that is why I'm very, very happy to be here to share in this the launch of our electronic business registration form portal. Because for me, this is a critical step in really fulfilling the vision of our Prime Minister and our collective vision to ensure that each community is moved from poverty to prosperity. But there's a bigger thing at play here. We have been a country that's very good at putting forward policies. I would say we research, and then we re-research, and then we re-research what we've researched. So in 2018, when we updated our MSME policy and added entrepreneurship, one of the big things that we said is that we would focus largely on implementation. So we transformed the policy team into our implementation task force. So this business registration form online portal is part of that implementation. And what is it really doing? One, in our policy, we had identified some of the barriers towards coming into the formal sector. One of those barriers was the minimum business tax. And as you know, earlier this year, this government removed that tax because we're focusing again on implementation. Another part of that barrier was just the difficulty that people found in registering their businesses and their companies. Oftentimes, largely because they would submit documents, those documents would be bounced, they would have to go back, and they would complain. Now, why not ensure that we have it online so that those challenges, you won't really face them? And those who really need our support can then come into the office. This will save tremendous time for people who want to register their business. So one, it ties into the policy in relation to, one, removing the barriers. It ties into the policy in relation to ensuring that we have access all across Jamaica. Kingston is not Jamaica. And I'm very happy that when Mrs. Jones spoke, when she gave her examples, she called St. Elizabeth twice. Because if we had to choose a parish, then it would be St. Elizabeth that represents Jamaica. But the reality is that as a part of the program, we're going to have kiosks right across the length and breadth of Jamaica so that people who don't have access to the internet can then go in, and it ties into our policy to give access to register business to our people. Finally, we decided to do something more innovative, which is to provide support to our, especially our MSMEs. They say they need more support, more hand-holding. They get that largely through the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. So why not ensure that instead of after advising them, we don't have to send them away to go and register their business. We can say, sit here, let us help you to register the business. So you don't leave without having a registered business. It will really facilitate the formality of the sector that is really needed to drive the sector forward. So I am happy to be here. I'm happy to see this come to fruition. We have more to do. We have to now work to ensure that our charities can also access the service. So when you want to register, you don't have to go multiple places. And I've already tasked my team at the Department of Cooperatives and my team at the company's office to look how we can tighten that up so that people can, when they register, they can just do one process. And also, now we can focus in the company's office on those people who need the assistance. So we're looking to bring forward some concierge services so that we have dedicated assistants when they come in to walk them through the process, so we can really see a decline in the amount of errors that people have when they submit their documents. It's a good day. It's a good day and a good way to start our first day of our 58th year. God bless you.
Well done, sir. I see you. We are learning, and learning is taking place in this building. I was happy when you mentioned St. Elizabeth, and I did observe the repeat. And I will hasten to say that my roots are from St. Elizabeth. And so I'll bear that in mind. Yes, it should start there. I agree. Totally. Yes? Okay, so next up to run another leg in this race is the Honorable Audley Manayard Shaw, CDMP, the Minister with responsibility for the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture, and Fisheries. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Most Honorable Prime Minister, my colleague ministers, and all of our public servants, heads of agencies, and of course our international partners from the IDB and the European Union. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be here this afternoon at the launch of this electronic business registration form. And I really want to take the opportunity to congratulate all of the partners which have been announced. The Companies Office, the Transformation Unit at the Office of the Prime Minister, and of course the Inter-American Development Bank. This facility being launched today will allow business operators to register their business name or company from wherever they are in the world and from the convenience of their homes, including the time. This remarkable facility also represents the first online business name registration platform in the Caribbean and is indeed a significant achievement for Jamaica and the Companies Office towards its modernization and transition to offering world-class services to its clients. You know, it is said in Jamaica that we have a high level of informality in the economy. One estimate, Prime Minister, was that 40% of our businesses are informal. And this ability to register easily as part of the ease of starting a business is a significant initiative heading in the direction of getting more formality into the economy. Competitiveness is a continuum. It is therefore imperative that we continually improve our performance and offerings by leveraging information and technology to reduce transaction costs and improve our capacity to respond quickly to opportunities and to threats. That is why we have outlined a comprehensive approach to improving our business climate and removing the impediments to doing business in Jamaica through the National Competitiveness Council's Business Environment Reform Agenda. To this end, we have seen recent legislative changes resulting in an enhanced access to credit through the National Collateral Registry and ongoing reform in the public sector to make it more efficient to do business with the government. Credit is a significant thing, and I'm stressing that access to credit, especially at single-digit interest rates, which is where we have to go to be a competitive economy, I encourage businesses, get formal, get registered, get transparent, get formal, and part of the return is that you'll be able to access cheap money to borrow and therefore be competitive and profitable in your business. As government, we are committed to further improvements to the Jamaican business environment. We cannot afford to be complacent. We must continue the momentum and the focus on other critical areas such as cost of paying, the cost and ease of paying taxes, and trading across borders. The ministry is keen on playing its part to drive Jamaica's growth agenda. We are committed to working closely with all stakeholders to improve the environment, create more jobs, and make our country the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. So, ladies and gentlemen, exciting times are ahead because I remember, Prime Minister, as I am coming down, when I was the Minister of Finance in 2009, I gave a speech saying that if I had to bring the financial sector kicking and screaming into single-digit interest rates, I would. We have brought the financial sector into single-digit interest rates now. And we need to, our businesses, I'm repeating it because it needs to be repeated. that this framework that we are launching here today is part of the framework of formality. It's part of the framework of increased transparency. It's part of the framework of increased productivity. But it is a fundamental part of the framework of moving from poverty to prosperity. And there's nothing wrong with transparency. There's nothing wrong with earning your money and paying some taxes to let that become part of building out a successful and modern country. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've learned a long time now that when your prime minister is here, you don't bother have your minister don't give a big speech, a long speech, okay? So we welcome the launch of this program and anticipate that through continued improvements and its implementation, Jamaica will become an even more attractive destination for local and international investors. Thank you very much.
Business is the innovative, efficient, and timely delivery of services. It is the desire to integrate all this into a seamless workflow that has driven the implementation of the electronic business registration form. Let's enter the future. Before we get there, you need to log on to the Companies Office of Jamaica website at www.orcjamaica.com and select Create Account. Enter a valid name and email address and a password complex enough to protect you, but one you won't forget. Register and you're in. Now let's go make a name reservation. Create a name. Select reservation type. Duration. This may be 2 or 30 days. Enter name choices and check availability. Approved. Great! You can then proceed to the registration section of the platform to provide further details about your business or company and upload the supporting documents. Got that? Good! Following this, it's time to sign the form using the secret code sent to you via email. Add to cart for checkout, and then submit for processing. See? As easy as log on, create, and register, and it's ticked off your shopping list. And just like that, you've successfully registered your business or company. Jamaica is open for business. Anytime, anywhere.
Wow. Beautiful. That was short and spicy. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. It's now time to hear again from Ahej. Where you, oh, you're right here. Let's make him welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. Fine talent he has.
Yes, they rabbi sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pits, but my hands were made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption song, redemption song. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy. 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it is just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing? Oh, these songs of freedom is all I ever had. Oh, redemption song, redemption song, redemption song. Song. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it is just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever had. Oh, redemption song, these songs of freedom is all I ever had. Oh, redemption song, these songs of freedom, redemption song. Oh, oh, oh.
Redemption song. I tell you, that's a very good rendition. Thank you so very much, young Ahije. It's now time to hear from a very, very, very important person in the house this afternoon. We are really very thrilled to have our Prime Minister with us. He is the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, ON-MP, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Please make him welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I want one of those ties. I'll be wearing it at our 58th celebration of our independence. Everyone who is here, good afternoon. So that is actually the first step in the ease of getting things done quickly. Let me say thanks to our development partners, Ambassador Washileska. I struggle with the name, but I know I'm close to it. And, you know, the IDB has been in Jamaica. It's the 50th year now. And the IDB supported us during the difficult times of the last financial meltdown in 2009. And Therese, you've been here since then. Yeah. Helping us, working with us. I know you're a Bahamian, but you wish you were a Jamaican. I also want to acknowledge the tremendous work done by the Companies Office of Jamaica, the Cabinet Office, and the Public Sector Transformation Unit to have coordinated all of this very complex arrangement. My experience has been that the most difficult thing to do in government is to re-engineer process. It is not easy to do because having done something for many years, people are vested in it. They have developed the skill in it. They are good at doing it that particular way. And that is the way that makes them indispensable. And the moment you try to change process, you begin to alter the power structures within organization. Classic organizational theory. So managing the change to migrate the legacy and traditional systems into technology-driven systems, that is a skill in itself. And I want to commend the Companies Office of Jamaica, Judith Ram-Logan, because that particular agency of government has led by example, and you've been one of the first agencies to have embraced the use of technology and re-engineered your business process. And I recall when you were creating the Superform, and that was quite a bit of work to coordinate between the tax authorities and all the other agencies involved, but you've gotten it done. And as a result of that, we were ranked fifth in the world. We slipped a little bit, but I'm certain that after today, we will be number 4 or 3, possibly even number 1. I mean, the ease with which you can register a company now, as displayed earlier, is mind-blowing. What does this mean? Well, it means, first of all, that Jamaica, as a potential place for international businesses, we have now gone up a step further. We have almost completed the legislation to create the International Business Center here. I'm not certain whether or not this platform will allow for the registration. A different platform will do it. But nevertheless, it still improves the ease of doing business. And once you have solved it for the registration of local businesses, it's just basically the same business process. So you can replicate that. The other thing I wanted to mention very quickly is the government is moving in a very deliberate way to integrate technology in its daily operations. Now, recently I had the opportunity to tour the youngsters that we have working on the HOPE program. We have developed the digitization core. And these youngsters are literally, they are on the front line of the integration of technology. They are the ones working with the paper to migrate the data that is embedded in paper documents into a portable digital format. And they were working at the NHD, scanning several thousands of documents. They were at the Island Traffic Authority, scanning millions of documents. In fact, they have completed several years backlog of paper-based motor vehicle documentation. Now, having done that, you now have content, data, that you can use to populate databases. Now, when you have that level of data, whether it is health records or motor vehicles or companies, you as a government are in a much better position to make decisions. Presently, we cannot say for certain the number of cars we have on our road. We simply don't know. There are 2 or 3 estimates. And we have to reconcile that. And we are now on way to do that. Traffic tickets, major problem. I'm pleased to say that I believe we are 90% there in resolving traffic tickets, putting them on a proper digital system with the necessary protocols to ensure that the tickets are issued and that the problems that existed before are resolved. But the one thing that ties all of this together is the identification. Because if you looked very closely at what was said, you have to give a number to identify yourself and then put in a password that's complex enough to protect your identity. National identification is critical for a digital society. Critical. So recently, I had the great pleasure of hosting the president of Kenya. And he was telling me about all the great things that are happening in Kenya. And Kenya is in the top 10 fastest growing economies. It is really a country that is doing well and embracing technology, particularly in fintech. You know, they have had this M-Pesa, which is mobile money, which has spread financial inclusion all over Kenya and has reduced the cost of the government servicing the vulnerable. And it has improved the access to credit. We in Jamaica, we have had some hesitation from a policy perspective in fully embracing the possibilities of fintech. And I'm here making a pitch for it, that we really should be embracing fintech far more than we have. And clap if you want, please, go ahead, yes. It has done amazing for other countries that have integrated that. But he went on to say that Kenya, 45 million people, that they have now captured the biometrics of 30 million of their population towards their national identification system. In other words, they are moving ahead to have all their citizens identified. Now, we acknowledge it's a different constitutional arrangement, maybe a different thinking as to what their future will look like. But it is clear that they, too, understand that the future of a digital society is imminent, it is irresistible, and the faster you embrace it and get ahead of it, you will lessen the digital divide. In the fourth industrial revolution in which we are, it is all about how do you manage information and data and leverage that in innovation. That's what it is. And the innovation with data now is how governments can use it to better serve their populations. And one of the things that we want to be able to do is to give every citizen an identity. It is not about stealing your identity or exposing your identity, but we need to know who you are. And you need to be assured that when you present yourself, you are known, you are acknowledged, and you can get service. So we have not given up on the national identification system. We're still moving ahead to put in place the backbone that is going to be necessary to have the system work. All the work that is put into this form will have to be hosted somewhere on some digital server platform somewhere, whether it is the cloud or hosted here locally. We are putting in the infrastructure to do that. And when it comes time for approvals to be given for these documents that are registered online, there has to be exchange of information at the back end between the government agencies. We have to put the platform in place so that if, for example, somebody applies and there needs to be a security check, that security check takes place seamlessly in the background and quickly. We are moving ahead with that to ensure that the technology is in place, the equipment is in place, what we call the GovNet, the government intranet, that is in place. And then we will be able to resolve in short order the form in which the national identification system will take. We have a form already. We just need to approve it and get it back on the parliamentary agenda, and hopefully it will be satisfactory to our courts. But I am committed to ensuring that Jamaica leapfrogs the digital divide. In the coming years, it will be the societies that have embraced technology and used it for innovation that will be the leaders. We have been left behind many times. We have been disadvantaged as a nation, as a people, many times. We have suffered many times. You know, booms have come in the global economy, and we have not been able to ride them. We are now on the upswing of the digital era. Let us take advantage of it. Let us embrace it for what it is. Let us not fear it. We are a blessed people. Let us use our blessings wisely. I'm very happy to be here with you to launch this e-form for the registration of business as a sign that Jamaica is moving boldly into the digital society.
Register your business from anywhere in the world. It's easy to register your business or your company in Jamaica. It's stress-free, saves time, and the steps are so easy. Register your business online.
Register your business at the Companies Office of Jamaica's website, orcjamaica.com. A message from the COJ of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Inter-American Development Bank.
Wow. Honorable Prime Minister, we invite you now to do the next thing, which is the official, to declare officially this launch and the item open. Yes?
We're going to do something on the computer there.
And going to invite Madame Ram Logan, yes, to come and to perhaps ask you to join our Prime Minister over there so we can have a look at that kiosk. Yes?
So let me declare it.
Yes, declare and then walk across.
By way of my word, I now officially declare the electronic business registration form launched and open.
Register your business online. Register your business from anywhere in the world. It's easy to register your business or your company in Jamaica. It's stress-free, saves time, and the steps are so easy. Register your business online.
Register your business at the Companies Office of Jamaica's website, orcjamaica.com. A message from the COJ of the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program of Government and the Inter-American Development Bank.
Wow. Thank you. Come on, put your hands together. Mrs. Judith Ramlogan and our Honorable Prime Minister. Where we noticed that at one point, I thought the mic should have been over there, because at one point I saw the Prime Minister kind of moved his hand like this and kind of whispered something to her. I'm not so sure what he was saying to her, but I'm sure in time we will know. Yes? Okay, it has been a long afternoon, wouldn't you agree? Yes? And it's now time to bring the afternoon's proceeding to a close. It's now time for the vote of thanks, and that, ladies and gentlemen, will be done by Mr. Maurice McIntyre. He is the Client Relationship Manager with eGov Jamaica. Let's make him welcome.
Great afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The pleasure is mine. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, the Honorable Audley Shaw, the Honorable Mrs. Faithful Williams, the Honorable Floyd Green, the Honorable Pernell Charles, Ambassador Douglas Saunders, Mrs. Sewell, all other cabinet members, head of the EU delegation in collaboration with the government of China. I would like to also recognize Mr. Francisco. Yes, the IDB country rep. Thank you for your presence as well. I will recognize the members of my eGov family as I proceed. How did I get here? Cabinet Office has a very strange yet very profound way in doing their business. On July 31st, I was called. I was in my emancipation service at my church, and I was called, and I was asked to do this vote of thanks. And I said, sure, not knowing what I would have embarked on. What I must tell you, that the relationship eGov has had with the Companies Office of Jamaica is indeed a very special one. When the engagement became a reality in terms of the need for having an ICT consultation engagement, the word came to my department at the time. I was a quality assurance analyst. Yes, I'm responsible for testing all that you will be engaged on the application. So anything breaks, it would be myself and my team responsible for either not having tested properly or not having identified the bug. When it came to the department and a resource was needed, everybody feared going down to COJ. I said, what about COJ so? What is there to fear? The work needs to be done. And I volunteered. Lo and behold, there was indeed things to fear. I can tell you, COJ knows quality. COJ knows what they want, yes, and they know who they don't want, yeah? Many persons would have come across the application over the years, and I would indeed like to call a few names for whom had participated in the core development team. Our lead ICT personnel, Mr. Wilford Morrison, very, 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 a matter of fact, I consider him the oldest developer we have on the team, because not only did he lead the team, but he had very core responsibilities in the back-end support. And when you talk about getting deep into the COJ back-end system, trust me, it's some real work. So we thank Mr. Morrison for his input there. Mr. Emery Spencer. Now, Emery I call him Honorable EJS, Emery J. Spencer. Let me tell you something, not an easy gentleman to talk to, for those of you who interacted with him. Everything that he says requires some amount of Googling thereafter. And you really have to do the fact-checking. But I can tell you the wealth of experience that this gentleman has in having led this project to what we are here to appreciate today is second to none. And I must say a big thank you to Mr. Spencer. The other team members, Mr. Vassell, who is sitting next to him, also very integral. The truth is that a team cannot be successful if they're not allowing themselves to be led. And Mr. Vassell was his right hand in a lot of the operations and configuration. Swabian Fender, Miss Swabian Fender, my Swaby, she is and continues to be a stalwart in terms of her role, in terms of supporting, yes indeed, thank you, in terms of supporting the product owner in defining, not only defining the requirements as it has been mentioned before. If the requirements are not defined well, you cannot have a good end. And Swaby has embedded herself in the agility of things, because I must again give you a little piece of the history. When eGov came into the relationship, it was on the birth of the new dispensation of developing and delivering software to the government of Jamaica. And the methodology that was utilized was one of an agile one. And this means, and though it has all its principles, I won't go into that now, but we had to have an ever dynamic way of doing the work. And for that reason, because of Swaby's knowing of the business and being able to work closely with the development team, it has, though long, and I can see that it was mentioned earlier, that this has been something that has been undergoing since 2014. I have been there in the space, and I've seen consultations and consultants come in and say, it's just a registration system. Why you can't get it done? I said, you need to look at the documents. I was tasked with the responsibility of doing quite a bit of reading. The mandate of the company's office is a real one. And garbage in, they say garbage out. You cannot automate a system if it is not thought through well. And what we will have today, as in our launch and visiting the website, is one that when users go there, they will have a smooth transition through each stage of the process. Yes? Thank you for that. The team from eGov, led by a young man, Tian Gooden. Tian was a young man, or is a young man, came in on the project specifically for this project with excellent, superb UI skills. When you talk about ensuring that the user can seamlessly understand what is on screen to be able to transition the information upon clicking submit, Tian had the responsibility of making this happen, bringing it to a reality on screen. We had Lyndon, we had Carlton Brown, we had Shezon Robinson, we have Lisa Branford. I must stop here again. Lisa Branford, along with former team member Kerry Smart. We mentioned business process engineering. Those two ladies brought the process to what it is today in terms of formulating the documentation. Our project manager, one of the directors at eGov, Miss Janet Robertson, awesome leader, awesome leadership skills. We thank you, Janet, for having led the team in the meetings and actually bringing us to this point today. Thank you very much. We had other members, Jason Thompson, we had Roxanne McCoy, our Scrum Master, we had Ricardo Stewart, we had Caliph Cole, we have K. Maureen Shim, another stalwart at eGov. We had Nicholas Jarrett, we had Lila Dawkins. We have other members on the COJ team, Mr. Fowler, Michael Fowler. We have Andre Reed. Our testers, not to be ignored. There are some real persons doing some real work in COJ office, and when I call upon them at odd hours or on weekends to do testing, they were there. Persons came in from the Montego Bay office on weekends to ensure that the application was tested thoroughly. We thank them as well. Every day we met in the form of what we call a ceremony, a sprint ceremony. And the question was asked, guys, what did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? And if you never accomplished what you said you were going to do yesterday, then you must have had an impediment. It was our leading team at eGov and at COJ that was tasked with the responsibility for removing impediments. And I have had some run-ins with both entities in terms of having impediments removed. And I must thank the leadership of eGov, Mr. Maurice Barnes, our current CEO, along with the board member, or Dr. Waller, I believe he's here, and the Shernet Barham, my department head, Mr. Brian Mowat. They were all played key roles in actually bringing this together. As I sat there with my TAJ family, as we talked about the integration, the points of integration for the company's office is the company's office registration system, or the EBR, the electronic business registration system, is not a very light one. The entities that are interacted here are many, and at this juncture, I tell you the resource of information that lies with the team here is one that will allow the digital economy to become a fruition. Jamaica will be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. I want to wish Jamaica a very happy birthday. This is an excellent present. God will indeed bless you all and bless this new registration system. And God will bless the ability for us to get it right through the COJ's website. I thank you.
Oh, he's a tall young man. Thank you so very much for thanking all of us. Mine is now the responsibility to just say a final thanks to all those who participated on this program this afternoon, and to those who sat, listened, and are now well educated and can become ambassadors now on behalf of all the organizations here who have joined together to get this launch going. We thank you so very much for taking the time out, and now we invite you to return to your respective place of boards and offices for those like me who will have to go back to the office. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. PM, and definitely to all the ministers who have been represented here, all the heads of government. Thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Just to remind you that refreshments are on the outside. Please don't rush out of here without being refreshed. Thank you.